and welcome everybody to the Voices of the South. This is the podcast where we talk about development from a global South perspective. Here you will find interviews with social innovators from everywhere around the world, alongside audio insights and a chat show focusing on different topics about development. In this interview, we will be chatting with Zarene, the Senior Manager of Social Innovation Lab. Social Innovation Lab is a social enterprise that focuses on helping other change makers in Pakistan and around the world to bring the project to reality. So, without anything more to say, welcome to another episode of Voices of the South. Welcome, Zarene, to Voices of the South. It's amazing having you here. Zarene comes with us as a representative, as a voice of Social Innovation Lab, who works primarily on Pakistan. However, the organization has managed to go beyond the borders, and now they are reaching over 3.8 million impacts and around 77 social enterprises. Is that right?
Hi, Carlos. Thank you for having me on the show. Yes, Social Innovation Lab started out in Pakistan in 2013 and since then has had the opportunity to work with different partner organizations globally, including UK, Brazil, Canada, New Zealand. We also have a cell global entity based in Canada with team members in North America and a lot of independent consultants who engage with us on different projects. So, yes.
Yeah, no, for the information that I could gather on your website, the impact of Social Innovation Lab has been above and beyond what you could expect. Yeah, from being relatively small, I see that in your website at least you have 6 members of the team, which is a small number in comparison to what the reach that Social Innovation Lab has at the moment. I don't know if you could talk to us a little bit more about how Social Innovation Lab was founded, why it was founded, and what's the goal of the organization.
Yes, so that was the idea behind it. Uh, Social was founded in 2013 with the support of Mastercard Foundation and the Telua Network to engage university students in transformative education. So we started out with the Hatchery, which was a social enterprise incubator that focused on student-led startups with a curriculum that covered both of their personal development as well as their enterprise development and focused on introducing an entrepreneurial mindset within students because we wanted to encourage and introduce students the concept of social entrepreneurship so that they can be job creators rather than job seekers. So that was the initial idea and the concept behind Social Innovation Lab, as well as Hatchery, our incubation wing in Social Innovation Lab. Apart from incubation, Social Innovation Lab has also done some consultancy projects with corporates and international NGOs, doing different workshops on human centered design and design thinking, as well as some research work. With the British Council, we did in 2016, we did a scoping study of social enterprises in Pakistan, and as well as we did our own research as well in 2017 that was Beyond the Bus, which was a deep dive into Pakistan startup ecosystem. So these are the three main wings that social innovation works in: incubation, consultancies, and research.
Okay, sounds really cool. I am impressed by the reach that the organization has had. I am impressed by the work that the organization has had, and most importantly, well, something that caught my eye a lot while I was doing my research on you guys is that the majority of the team is formed by women. You only have one man going around, if I'm not mistaken, which
Yes,
is
currently we don't even have a man on the team. We're currently like just women on the team. So yes, we are a women led and a women run organization, which is indeed very cool. It's a lot of girl power happening on.
yeah, no, definitely is really cool. I found it really interesting and really nice to know that there are organizations of these kinds that are mainly led and empowered and driven by women and girl power. Um, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have only had another women-led organization in the program. We are working on making a change of that, but it's harder than it looks. Obviously, for a lot of things in social background and everything, but it's very nice to see that. Um, well, I wanted to ask a little bit on what are you currently working. You told me about the three wings of the organization: the hatching, yes, the research wing, which is the beyond the boss, and the consultation firm. Well, yeah, consultation, no? Currently, I'm a little bit more interested on knowing what are you doing with the hatchery, being that is the main social impact that Social Innovation Lab has, if I'm not mistaken.
So the hatchery has run about nine successful incubation cycles now, and we've incubated over 100 social enterprises. So currently, we are on our incubation front. We are more focused on developing the capacity of our alumni enterprises. And because the main focus of the in our incubation wing was to work on early stage entrepreneurs. So since 2013, a lot of those early stage entrepreneurs have now become mid stage. They have gained a lot of traction. So they need a different kind of support as well. We've kind of shifted our incubation capacities into develop like helping those medium stage enterprises as well, which includes helping them with access to network and funding, as well as helping them out with organizational building as well. Some of our still superheroes that I would like to share about their work is risk, which is an organization that works on food security food security. So they have a very interesting model that they collect food and then redistribute that food to their food banks. We've helped them develop with their business model and also their expansion, and also helping them with their various collaboration with stakeholders and distribution of their food bank network, and also their risk and distribution of risk rations, which is a risk ration is like a monthly like a food package that they give out to support low income families. That's kind of that's an example of how we kind of help out our alumni network, our alumni network and alumni enterprises that have now expanded from an early stage enterprise to a mid stage enterprise.
Yeah, I was looking at the amount of social enterprises that the Social Innovation Lab had supported during the years, and it's really nice to see that you have a long variety of them. With, as you say, risk, which is a food security one, but you also have one that is focusing on social networks, especially on neighborhoods and these kind of dynamics, which is something that I haven't seen before, and that's super good. Um, okay, so we have been a little bit about who is the team behind the project, what is the project doing now, what is the social innovation doing at this moment. Um, I'm gonna spin a little bit outside of the script. Well, not the script, but the guide that I sent you. uh, and ask you a little bit more about the team, and ask you especially about your experience as a woman leading a social innovation project. Because I suppose it's not that easy, being that especially business side is mainly dominated by men. Um, and I don't know if that is the same case in Pakistan in the social innovation circuit. Could you expand a little bit about it? What was your experience, or what is your experience as a woman leading a project like this?
Well, if I like answer this very honestly, I don't personally feel that I've I've experienced a situation where I feel that my being a woman has hindered certain ways. There are certain social, you can say, expectations that sometimes are attached to being to being a woman. So, like in terms of, you can say, safety or going around, sometimes like I feel like when I have to go around for business meetings some alone, there obviously, the expectations are sometimes that you have, like you hear certain like things that, oh, she's going alone. uh so there's that. There are some, like, I do feel that I've faced that discomfort, or like that aspect of social expectation when it comes to safety and security. But in terms of being leading a business, I feel I have not experienced as much of a hindrance, but I have worked with women entrepreneurs that have definitely faced that hindrance. So we ran an entire women-centric incubation cycle, with partnership with the government of Punjab, and a lot of the women entrepreneurs that we worked with, it was a really interesting mix of women. There were students, there were housewives who wanted to, just run their home based businesses, as well as professional women who wanted to, branch out and start their own business as well. So there we I kind of got a lot of insight of, what kind of difficulties and hardships that women entrepreneurs do face when they decide that they want to start their own business. It's some, like, sometimes it's also because of, the responsibilities that they have to that is attached of being a woman. If there were married women and they had kids, obviously they had expectations to be back at home at a certain time, they to be with their kids. So we made sure that there's a like a daycare center for the children, so that, if women had children, they could bring their children, so that, they can have that mental peace that, if we want to come in here and focus on our business, there is a space especially for their children, that they'll know that they'll be near them. So we kind of took these things into consideration. For university students, we knew that time we kind of understood working with them, that, like, timings can be a big issue for them. They had universities, plus then their parents expect their daughters to be home before dark. So we kind of navigated carpooling for them, so that, if they need to stay or work on their projects after their class timings, then they can, at least, they have a way to go home. Because that is obviously, uh, living in a society such as ours. These are the concerns, that any woman does have, going out, safety, security, that's like paramount for anyone. I think anywhere, it's not just us, right? So these were the things that we kind of gathered, understood that, you need to provide these kind of comforts to women, so that they can be at peace, that they can, once they have covered these problems, then they can actually think and focus on their business well. They can actually have that mental space and time to think about their businesses, because, oh, that's the only space that they get. Once these questions and these challenges are covered, that's when they get time and space in their head to actually think about what they want to do and focus on their businesses, right? The other thing that kind of focused on as well was that a lot of these women, uh, it was about community building. So we did these, once a week, these sisterhood sessions on every Friday, where, we try to create a community for these women, so that they can talk about what issues they're facing. And it was very interesting that, a lot of, whatever age, whatever socioeconomic background, a lot of these challenges are very similar. So when you talk about them, you kind of realize that how it is a lot of these issues are can be covered if you just talk about them and come up with like collaborative solutions. Like for example, the carpooling solution. Like you just had to talk about like who's living nearby, and you could come up with that solution. Like you could come up with like going home. So that's like it was so that was really interesting that like if you create that community and you create that space for women to talk about their issues there, then they you create that comfort, then they can come up with the solutions as well. And the other thing was a lot of the lot of women face, and that's something that like as a woman I face that a lot. Like we tend to we tend to suffer from an imposter syndrome, so we always like self doubt ourselves. So that was a lot that I think I've overcome that through being in a position where I was given the position to lead and like to be a face of the organization. There were a lot of times that I doubted myself, but then there were also a lot of times that I overcame that self doubt as well, because I was given that trust and I was given that leadership position to find the faith in myself and find the ability to really push myself to be that leader for my team as well. So I think these two, creating a network and having that support, really creates a difference. When especially being a woman, like I feel like sisterhood is very important.
Yeah, definitely. It's really important to take in account quotidian things that we live, like going home at night, and how important that can be as a challenge to create your own social enterprise, to create your own business. Um, which, for example, the majority of the men probably wouldn't even think twice about going walking into the night. Being a woman might have extra dangers that shouldn't be there but are there for the society being a prick in general. And it's impressive how just nudging these small, small in a way, but quotidian situation can help a lot of women reach their potential they want to reach. It's a really nice history, a really nice project. And yeah, about the imposter syndrome, yeah, it's a thing. I'm glad that you have been able to overcome it, and that you are leading your team, and probably, hopefully, with this interview, inspiring other women in the global south, trying to create their social enterprise and or be part of a social enterprise and not feel that they don't belong there. It's really cool. Thank you for sharing that personal part of you. Let's go back to the guy. I I don't know if you were during the foundation of Social Innovation Lab. The organization has been going for a while now. It's almost 10 years now, at least close to it. Um, but I wanted to talk. When was the moment where the team realized that yes, this is what we want to do? Social Innovation Lab is working, and we want to keep working on this idea. We want to keep inspiring other change makers around the world.
I'll go back to a little bit of my history with SIL as well here. Uh, Social Innovation Lab was founded in 2013, but I joined the team in 2018. And there is, and why I can share that why I joined Social Innovation Lab is because when came to what social entrepreneurship is, I don't think a lot of people were talking about social entrepreneurship in Pakistan. So in Social Innovation Lab has been one of the most has is like a pioneer in social entrepreneurship in Pakistan. Uh, it, in terms of research and in terms of like introducing and really advocate for social entrepreneurship in Pakistan. And like I've done a master's in social entrepreneurship from Goldsmith University of London. So when I came back from London and I was looking for opportunities to work in social entrepreneurship, social innovation lab, and there were only a few other like organizations who were actually focused and working on social entrepreneurship. So that it was like a perfect fit for me of why I wanted, like, no, it just made sense. It was like a serendipitous moment for me to like join social innovation lab. And like and also the like you know, the vision and the mission of the organization is just is is very close to what I wanted to do in my life as well, which is to work on, like, work with people, uh, and creating that entrepreneurial mindset, and also think about solutions of the social problems that we deal with in every day, and think, and more importantly, think about how we in a sustainable way. And in that, when I say sustainability, I don't really mean just the financial sustainability. It's also the social and environmental sustainability that we really need to work on. And that is what the concept of uh, uh, the hatchery incubation was, that you first work on leadership development with the founder on their, like, creating that entrepreneurial mindset, and then you work on their mission and vision of why they want to solve that particular problem that they want to solve, and then you work on the enterprise development. Then you which is like, uh, have, working with them, giving them the skills development knowledge of, like, what kind of business models that they should think about, like, what kind of market and target audience that they should think about their business idea. So it gives it a more humanistic and a holistic, um, like, way of like looking at a solution, looking at a problem, and then uh, coming up with a solution that is like that is it has a more holistic point of holistic view of solving that problem. So that, like, that has remained the core of social innovation labs since the beginning, and even today. We start, like I've mentioned that, we started out on, working with students, and creating and inculcating the concept of social entrepreneurship and advocating for it, like, how young people can take charge of the problems that surround us, that surround them, and then, be involved with their community, and then think of solutions, like come up with, be a solution oriented approach. uh, so and that means the true till today. We have, like I mentioned, we work with over 100 enterprises now that are solving problems from food security to education, health, tourism. So there's, like, we've I've been it's the interesting part of my job, I would say, is that there is no limit to your creativity. You're working with people that that are approaching you with their diverse ideas, and you get a chance to help these young people with developing their ideas into viable business models. That is like that is also like my skill set that I bring to the table for social innovation lab, is like my experience with project management, as well as like operate or monitoring, evaluation, and and research capacity that, I can put in with these founders and enterprise uh, developers, and helping them think about thinking about enterprise development, as well as inculcating the entrepreneurial mindset with them that can really help them like establish their mission and vision, and solidify why they want to work on this particular solution.
Yeah. Well, sounds it's a it's a good way to resume why you decided to stay, or why you decided to work in social innovation lab. Is I've been a social entrepreneur myself before, and I understand that moment when you it's not only about the money, it's also about creating change and creating spaces for opportunities for others. So, yeah, and thank you for sharing this that personal experience on how you came into Social Innovation Lab. Um, let's move to the next part of the interview. Let's move to the part which is the most personal and the most inspiring for some people. I want to ask about two things. The first one is the biggest achievement of the organization, or what you think is the biggest achievement of the organization. And the second one would be the fuck up that happened on the history of the organization. You can decide on which one you want to start. Uh, but yeah, so there you go.
I think the biggest achievement and for like social innovation lab has been like the founders that we work with, like the 100 enterprises that we work with through our hatchery cycle. We've like I mentioned before, like it's a great opportunity to be providing like to be supporting such incredible ideas and making them possible. So that feels great. And also like being an ecosystem builder for for people out there who are interested and want to come forward and you know think about think about solutions in a creative way and need and to be able to provide that platform for people who are thinking differently, creatively, and coming up with solutions that can solve like the big problems that we face today is absolutely I would feel is biggest achievement for me as well as the organization. And but the other thing is also I think we with what the social innovation lab has been able to be able to do so well has been working with partnerships like we've mentioned in since 2013 we've been we've partnered with a lot of local as well as global organizations and social networks. We are a part of uh, frontier incubators, which is a collaboration of southeast asia and south asian entrepreneur support organizations. And we've been able to work with a lot of different ESOs across Southeast Asia and South Asia, and work with really interesting projects as well. Like most recently, Social Innovation Lab worked on coming up with guiding principles on impact measurement for entrepreneur support organizations. So it is a set of guiding principles that can help ESOs on na- how to better their impact measurement practices within that organizations, and also how their how they can think about their impact and how they can better support their entrepreneurs. Like that being like one of them. The other uh, partnerships that we've had, like I would also like to mention is that the founder of our organization, Maria Muhyiddin, she is like has been an alumni of Acumen. She's an Acumen fellow as well as a Youth Action Network fellow. So that has given Social Innovation Lab a lot of opportunity to collaborate with the social enterprises and entrepreneurs support organizations in different parts of the world, where we've been able to uh, accelerate our impact through with like-minded organizations in other parts of the world, and accelerate our impact and grow our impact, and come up with really interesting collaborative programming. For example, through the Frontiers Incubator Network, we were able to collaborate with Akina Foundation, which is also an entrepreneur support organization that works in New Zealand, and they work with Maori social enterprises. And with the help of with like DFAT and Australian Aid, Social Innovation Lab was able to go and visit New Zealand and work with Akina Foundation and visit these Maori-based social enterprises and learn about how these enterprises uh, are are working on principles of regenerative development and uh, and design within and business and like no and indigenous business models as well. So I think we've like uh, like our partnerships have really enabled us to expand and also increase our of like our knowledge and understanding of this subject, and create partnerships and come up with creative programming for for ourselves locally, as well as have have interesting and collaborative partnerships to like around the world as well. For example, the current project that we are working on, Weaving Pathways, is also a result of this collaboration. It is it's a collaborative project between Social Innovation Lab, Casa do Povo, which is a cultural center in Brazil, and Salted Inspired, uh, a cultural charity based in an arts charity based in UK. And we worked on connecting two artisanal communities from northern Pakistan and a cooperative in Brazil that is led led by Bolivian and Peruvian immigrant seamstresses, and we connected them digitally. Where first they had an introduction of who they were, about what their stories were, what kind of work they do, what kind of craft they work in, the embroideries that they work in, or the products that they make. They exchange their ideas and products and their cultural background, and then we help them with some digital digital marketing, as well as helping these women of how they can develop their product with the help of designers based in Brazil and Pakistan, which we're in the process where now that they have created a product line based on on Pakistani and Brazilian aesthetics. Which was also exhibited at the Makers Fair in UK Bradford. So we've so thanks thankfully for we've had really interesting partnerships and collaborations around the world that have really helped us work and do creative projects, not just in Pakistan, but also meet people and work with people, and work with different communities throughout. So that was just the highlight. I think I've being now, if I go at the lowest points, or if you can, I don't know if you can really call them like fuck ups, but definitely learning opportunities for sure, is being an intermediary organization, or a middleman, as you can say. You there is a there you there is a constant pressure on you to pivot and shift, because you have to meet the needs of your entrepreneurs. That means that you as an organization have to keep on evolving and keep on pivoting and keep on coming up with programming that is needed for your audience. So that that is, I think, a challenge as well as a learning opportunity, that you can you there is a constant shift in programming. There is a constant you have to keep on uh, you scoping, or I would say running for projects, or run uh, for money that can keep you stable, because you need your own stability before you can actually uh, be there for your entrepreneurs. So I think that has been a major learning point for me, being running. Social Innovation Lab as an intermediary organization. So, but I think that, and that has also been the biggest learning for me, that like, as if you want to keep on doing this work, you really don't have this, the, like, you really need to be resilient all the time. There has to be, like, the motivation has to, like, come, you have to keep on motivating yourself, that, like, you keep on, you just keep at it. So it, at times it can be difficult, because obviously in, we, like, as if there is, you do, there are also, special, like, especially when COVID hit, everyone, like, it impacted the entire world, and then so did it, and obviously it impacted us as well. We had a certain programming running. We had to shift completely to a remote, organization. There obviously that was a lull period for the like, for our entrepreneurs as well as us. We really, it was really helpful for, like, or really good for us, that, like, we came up with an opportunity of how to keep motivating our entrepreneurs as well, and create a network of because we have, now that we have, like, 100 plus, 100 plus alumni organizations, we were able to create those connections and collaborations within our alumni networks, and, like, keep, keep the supply chain going on for our enterprises as well. So that was interesting, and it was a good, opportunity for, like, for us to learn that, like, every, like you can say that, like, every low point does come with its own opportunity, and you just have to keep at it. So I think that has been the biggest learning for me, in, like, in terms of, leading leading this, leading the space as a intermediary and a support organization.
Yes. Well, first, congrats. It's amazing to hear that Social Innovation Lab has reached from the Maoris in New Zealand, to the Incas in Peru, to everything in between. I don't know if you have any project in Africa or in one of the Polynesian. Well, you have a project or a collaboration in New Zealand, but yeah, I think the only one you would be missing is Africa and perhaps Europe, continent-wise.
Yeah, we don't have a project in Africa, but we did have a project in Europe. We worked with an organization called Helping Bee, which is now Up Effect, which is a crowdfunding platform. We did a work. We did a social entrepreneur boot camp for social entrepreneurs, and help them with business development, and then, uh, with the help of the organization Up Effect, help them crowdfund for their businesses as well. So we have worked with, European organizations, like, like Up Effect and Salted Inspired. So that's, but yes, we still are looking for a partner in Africa. So if anyone in Africa is interested to partner with us, please do get in touch.
I will, yeah, due to the work of research and the podcast and the people who might participate in the podcast, if I find somebody in Africa that I think it would be interesting for you, I will most definitely connect it to you guys. And talking about the lowest point, as you say, the fuck up is a point of inflection, a point of where the entrepreneur and the program needs to evolve, and that's a moment sort of like the lowest point. Um, we in general call it a fuck up, not because it's something so big that is gonna kill you, but is, well, it definitely could, but it's more on the idea of everybody makes mistakes, everybody fucks it up at some point in life, and for example, the point is that seeing you social innovation lab, for example, or previous interview with Remora or with Thingson, who are successful social enterprises, successful NGOs, they are really high. And the point of the World Cup is to lower. down a little bit. So any new social innovator that might happen to be hearing us can hear, okay, well, these guys that have been working for decades almost and have been changing the life of so many also committed mistakes at some point during the project, and it's okay to have these mistakes. It's okay to learn from them, which, as you say, is the most important part of them. Is the way you learn, the way you develop, the way you transform. In the case of the Social Innovation Lab, I can totally understand why it's so complicated to keep moving, because you guys are in the middle. So you need to appeal to the donors, and you need to appeal to your beneficiary public, in this case, other social enterprises. Um, Again, thanks a lot for sharing that experience that you have had with Social Innovation Lab. Um, let's go to the last two parts of the interview. This one is about the future. Where is Social Innovation Lab pivoting towards? Where does Social Innovation Lab wants to go now? I don't know if you can give us a small sneak peek on what is going to happen for Social Innovation Lab in 2022 after the pandemic, after everything that happened the last 2 years.
Yeah. For sure. So right now, like I mentioned, like the one project that we're working on, Project Weaving Pathways, which is about connecting artisanal communities. We are we will definitely be working on that project more, because it was a pilot project, and we've already learned so much about, like co-creating, the like how the process of co-creating and collaboration with multiple partners, is challenging in itself. And how even, how you develop, how you work with the artisans and create, develop creative enterprises, and connect crafters in different communities. So I think we'll definitely be doing a lot of reflection on the process of this project as well. Also work on the production part of this aspect. Like I mentioned, like the two groups that we work with are working on a product line. So they have already worked on certain products already that have been exhibited. We definitely want to work with these 25 women that we already engaged with, and help them like uh, create create an opportunity for them, and like give them more opportunity to create more products, market their products, market their enterprises with different partners, with different commerce platforms, that we that's definitely the goal for us, right now, because we realized that it, we're just working on it for like 4 to 5 months was definitely not enough. And like these especially the groups that we're working with, the Bolivian immigrants that are in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, and the group of the women that we work in Hunza, the northern region of Pakistan, a good viable internet connection. So if, plus they have a lot of supply chain issues. There are a lot of difficulties procuring materials for them. So I thought I think that this 4 months has been a really good learning opportunity of what kind of support we can give them coming forward, and how can we work on creating creating more of opportunities for them, improving the supply chain for them, improving their product quality, and then help them creating opportunities for them to market their product, because we feel that that was a big gap with them right now, because it's with both the groups, being uh, they do have they don't have the right skills to really market their product right now. So that is what we're going to be focusing on with in terms of this project. But like I've I mentioned, being an intermediary organization means that you constantly have to look for opportunities, and that's what we continue to do in 2022 as well. We have uh, like uh, um, like I mentioned that with our work with Akina Foundation and our visit to New Zealand, we learned a lot about how you can introduce principles and regeneration into your business models. So in when before COVID hit, we were in the process of designing a retreat that brings together on urban entrepreneurs and uh, take them to a different setting, so that they can then see what kind of solutions they like, what kind of problems there are in, like, in a rural setting or in any given community, and work together collaboratively to think about and to learn about those in their indigenous practices, and then come up with business solutions. So we hope to relaunch that retreat again in 2022, because we have now, like, Social Innovation Lab wants to focus on and focus on with even with our alumni networks, and also with the new entrepreneurs that we work with, of thinking in regeneratively, like, how you can introduce regenerative principles and principles of circularity within your supply chain and your business model. So that is what we want to focus on now, going forward, through, like, and we've also done circular design workshops in this year and last year as well. So we hope to continue working on that with and we also in this year we would also we became a partner with the Incubation Network, which is a network of ecosystem organizations, support organizations that work on plastic circularity and pla- like plastic waste management. So we're also part of the incubation network, and we hope to leverage that network, partner with entrepreneurs and entrepreneur support organizations that are working in waste management, plastic waste management, and uh, introduce and advocate for more circular business models within our own alumni network, uh, and also with other entrepreneurs that reach out to us, because we, like, definitely, like I've mentioned before, like, we sustainability is a core value that we want to get in the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Pakistan. And with the current situation of the world, and even with, like, in post-COVID world, I think we it's high time that we pay heed to, the environment. So we want to work with entrepreneurs that are mindful of working with the community that they're working in, and also think holistically, and, think in systems with, what their businesses are doing to the environment, how are they affecting the societal structure, how, think about different economic models. So that's what we definitely want to focus on in 2020.
Sounds amazing. Sounds very cool. Just quickly for the for the audience, could you explain just a little bit what is regeneration that you have been mentioning, especially regarding the social innovation with the Maori original population and circularity, just so the concepts can be explained, so to say.
Sure. So when we talk about regeneration, it is about, the sustainability is, thinking in. Sorry, I'm trying to think about. I'm trying to translate the word in my head here. It's
Um,
about regrowth.
Rigor, yeah. The
Yeah.
way I understand that, and tell me if I am wrong, is a circular motion of it's a circular system where you are using, let's say, forestry resources, but the idea of regeneration, you keep the cycle going, planting the same or more trees that you have used before, so that you are replenishing the natural resources.
That is also, but that is, but that is what also a circular model is. Like that is what you would explain a circular model as well. But how we define circularity is like when we, it's more of a circularity within the business model. So it is like, no, circularity is more about that you, there's absolutely not, you don't, there is absolutely no waste within your supply chain. So you think about different consumption patterns, and you think about different distribution patterns of, like, depending on what your product or your service is. So that is thinking about circularity. Uh, Regeneration would definitely be about like regrowth. Like, no, it is about, you have to think, it's not like, you, if whatever you're using, you need to give back. It's that,
Mm,
it's that, it's working on the concept of, like, it's not just taking from the environment but giving back to the environment.
mm,
So the balance is restored. So like nothing, it's about restoring the balance, restoring the balance of the earth. And that is, that is what we learned when we went to New Zealand and met with these Maori businesses. That is what they worked on. The entire principle of uh, like the entire faith of these Maori, like, their vision of this was like that their work, they did not, they really valued in their environment that they worked in, and balance is everything for them. So they don't want to take away from the earth. So whatever they take, they they give back. For example, like you mentioned, you gave the right example of the reforestation. It, like, we went, one of the organizations that we did went was like, no, they did, they were in this timber business. But whatever, what how many trees, like how they were, whatever trees that they were cutting, they were replanting the double the amount of trees that they were cutting. So that is like the concept, that is the concept of regeneration, that, like, no, you are working to restore the balance of the earth. You don't want to take away from the resources, you want to only use the amount of resources that you use is the amount of resources that you are able to give back to that
mm.
environment. So that is the concept of regeneration.
Thanks a lot. That is a really good explanation. Um, we're really close to finishing the interview. Again, thank you for your time and for all of the small and big tales and histories that you have told us today. It's been a really nice interview. Um, before we close, yeah, before we finish this interview, I wanted to ask, what would you recommend to any social innovator that is starting now, that is, yeah, starting with an idea, starting with something that they want to create and they want to do, being that Social Innovation Lab dedicates itself to create or help new social innovations. What would be your top one or top two recommendations for them?
For sure, like, I would definitely focus on the point that as a social innovator or as a social entrepreneur, we, like, my recommendation or my advice would be that we need to start thinking in systems, like I said. Like every, whatever solution that you, whatever problem that you are working on, it is, it it is really helpful if you see how that problem, like, have a systemic view of that problem, and then think of a solution can can, like, d- somehow change that system or disrupt that system. That is how that we're going to, like, that is how you're going to create a change, that is how you're going to create social innovation. So definitely, uh, my 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 top like the first thing would be to definitely think in systems. The other thing is that as a social entrepreneur, like no and that is this is in terms of like no thinking about your enterprise development. Um, See your success in partnership, because that really makes a difference. Because whatever solution that you're coming up with, whatever problem that you're trying to solve, it it obviously affects a lot of different types of people, and you can work wonders working in partnership. And I think that's one of the biggest learnings as well, as for Social Innovation Lab. Like I mentioned, like our achievements and our successes have been that we have been able to work in collaborations with like-minded organizations. So seek value with in what you're doing with different partners, and that is how you can multiply your impact. It's not about just provide creating a solution. It is also about creating an impact, and you can create impact through creating uh, partnerships. Like just seek out like-minded organizations, seek like how you can add value to them and how they are adding value to you, and work in partnership. That can really uh, can have a that can accelerate the change that you're trying to working in collaboration.
Uh, yeah, perfect. Specifically for women social innovators that are starting, anything that you would like to tell to them? Any
Yeah, for
specific like niche? If you don't have any, you don't have any. That's okay. Also,
I mean, for women solo innovators, like one thing that I would say is like really believe in yourself. I think that is the thing that you you have you really have to believe in yourself and find a support, like find your support network. Be a part of a network that really supports you, stands by you, and understands you. That uh, that would really make your life easy.
perfect. Two more questions. One of the final two questions is, what would you recommend to our general audience, where you have a lot of people that are not social innovators, or that are not working with social innovation, but they still want to give back, create something new, or help achieve development, achieve social change? What would you recommend to them?
And if you're not a social innovator and like you still want to give back and you still want to, I think one thing what you can do is, and that's something that um I've also started doing very consciously, is start reviewing or start to pay attention to your own consumption patterns and and like what effects they're having on your environment. It just it really helps you in really understanding, like I said, like seeing things systematically. Once you Because uh, one challenge with social innovation, social entrepreneurs, is also like you you're creating products for an audience that understands what kind of the value of your product is as well. So once you have conscious consumers, your product and services automatically improve as well. So if you don't want to be a social innovator, I think what you can do is be a conscious consumer.
Perfect. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Finally, if people want to know more about the Social Innovation Lab, where would you send them? What's your social networks? And
Well, if you want to know more about Social Innovation Lab, please visit our Facebook, which is Social Innovation Lab, our Instagram handle, which is Sokin Lab, and our website, sokinlab.org, and send us an email at hello@sokinlab.org.
oh, perfect. Thank you very much, Zarene, for being part of Voices of the South. It was a pleasure having you here.
Well, thank you so much, Carlos. It was a lot of fun,
Thank
actually.
you, everybody, for hearing us today. Remember that you can follow us on our Instagram and our Facebook as The Social Backer. Finally, we would like to thank our patrons who made this program possible: Lois E, Laura N, Alma N, Sergio R, Benk E, Patricia O. If you would like to support this program and get some extra content, you can do so at Patreon, at The Social Backer.